Get and complete details about Monaco mailed to you right away.
Call 1-800-514-8181.
Larry King Live, tonight, 9 Eastern on CNN.
That may have been the last shot Michael Jordan will ever take in the NBA. If that's the last image of Michael Jordan, how magnificent is it?
But Air Jordan is one step closer to taking the court again. It is the talk of the nation. From Washington to Chicago to courtside, reaction to what could be the booster shot the NBA needs.
It is 7 a.m. in Washington, 6 a.m. in Chicago, where the news is being made this Tuesday, September 11th.
From the CNN Center in Atlanta, this is CNN Live at Daybreak. Good morning, I'm Carol Lynn.
And I'm Vince Cellini. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, let's see. There was this fellow, number 23.
Yeah, kind of tall guy.
Yeah, played a little bit in the NBA, Michael Jordan. And the big story of the day, Michael Jordan coming back. His return to the league. We'll talk about the physical and mental challenges of his decision. He'll be 39 next February while the NBA season is going on. We have live shots galore all over the country to talk about
Lots
this.
of reaction. Also, other medical news this morning. A report indicating President Bush did not approve enough stem cell lines to give researchers what they need. Elizabeth Cohen got up early this morning when the news broke, and she's going to explain all of it to us.
But what do you say we start with Michael?
Go for it.
Always gets the last word, does Michael. All right, we're going to get more on just what Jordan told reporters in Chicago on Monday to tip them off to this story. And we are joined by Marty Burns of CNNSI.com, who spoke with Jordan. And Marty, one of the reporters breaking this story. Good morning, Marty.
Good morning, Vince.
It's good to see you again. Tell us about that conversation and what indication Michael gave to reporters. How did he tip his hand and do it strategically, I'm sure?
Well, Michael didn't come right out and say it, that he would come back, but he's told us that he felt great, that his knee that had been bothering him in recent weeks felt fine, and that barring any kind of flare-up of the tendonitis, he was ready to do this and to make a comeback to the NBA.
And he said he would play for years. Now, we mentioned his age. He is 38 years old. And, Marty, there's a big difference in playing in the NBA than playing pickup games with NBA players in Chicago. So you feel like he's ready to take this next step?
Yeah, you know, it's been hard to really get an idea of how well Michael's playing because the games are closed to the media, the pickup games that he's been playing. But we have talked to players who've played in the games and spectators who've watched, and you get the feeling from them that Michael's game has really come on in recent weeks as his knee has started to improve, and that he might not be the acrobat and the high-wire player that he was early in his career, but that he's still smart enough and he's still good enough to get the job done.
He would remain, you believe, one of the elite players in the NBA if he steps on the court in the fall?
Yeah, I think he will. You know, Michael wouldn't come back unless he knew he could play at a very high level. He's a guy with a lot of pride, and he's set such a high bar for himself that he wouldn't be doing this unless he was confident he could play at near the same level he was before.
Maybe you can talk about what the next step would be in terms of his relationship with the Wizards and his front office capacity. And I know you can't do both. You can't be an executive and a player.
That's right. NBA rules require or don't allow an owner to participate or be a player. So Jordan would have to divest himself of his ownership shares in the team, but he told us yesterday that that's not a problem. He has a mechanism in place in which he can divest his shares temporarily and then reacquire them when his playing career is finally over.
All right, Marty Burns, thank you very much for that information. And, of course, the NBA season will open up, not so coincidentally for Michael Jordan and the Wizards, in Madison Square Garden, October 30th, site of some of his great all-time games as the Chicago Bulls. So New York will be the spotlight on that night as Michael returns.
It ain't over till it's over.
No. And we have much more coming up on the Jordan return. We're going to go live to the streets of Chicago. We'll hear from the core of Michael Jordan's fans as he won 6 NBA titles with the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah, then Vince, in the next hour, we're going to take a look at the physiology of a 38-year-old Michael Jordan. Is he healthy enough? Is he too old?
But most importantly, we want to hear from you. What do you think of Air Jordan flying once again? Drop us an email. The address is daybreak@cnn.com. Be sure to include your name, where you're from, and we'll have your comments coming up in the next hour.
Okay, you're an expert, which is the only reason why I'd ask you. What do you think? What do you think? Do you think this is real?
I think it is real. I think Michael would not put this much time and effort if he really wasn't going to come back and play in the NBA. And I think the bigger picture, NBA negotiating rights are going on, the TV rights with the networks right now, so the timing couldn't be better. Ratings had dropped last year. They picked up a little bit in the NBA Finals, but with Michael back, he is the human ratings boost. So I think it's good all around.
Yeah, I can keep your fingers crossed. Kira Phillips has the other news today. Morning, Kira.
Hi, guys. Good. I can't see Michael Jordan being unhealthy. It just doesn't mix. You know what I mean? All right. Well, we got other news stories to talk about. We're going to start in Houston, Texas, where jurors will be chosen this morning to decide if a mother accused of drowning her 5 children is fit to stand trial. The competency hearing for Andrea Yates is expected to begin tomorrow. She's accused of drowning her children June 20th in the bathtub of the family's Houston home. Relatives say Yates has been treated for severe postpartum depression. Elizabeth Dole is expected to announce today that she's running for the U.S. Senate in North Carolina. Dole will make the announcement in her hometown of Salisbury. The seat is being vacated by Senator Jesse Helms. Dole has headed the Departments of Transportation and Labor and is former president of the American Red Cross. Iraq is claiming it has shot down a second U.S. spy plane, but so far reports from Baghdad make no mention of any pilot. The plane reportedly went down near the southern Iraqi city of Basra, and the Pentagon confirms it has lost contact with an unmanned plane. 2 weeks ago, Iraq said it shot down another unmanned spy plane. The U.S. admitted the loss, but said the plane may have crashed on its own. Well, those 64 stem cell lines now used by researchers worldwide may not be enough to support future research. That's the word from the National Academy of Sciences. And CNN medical correspondent Elizabeth Cohen is here now to explain. Elizabeth, let's start with why the scientists believe that they need more.
Well, they say that there are several limitations of the stem cell lines that are out there. For example, they say that eventually they're going to get old and they could start to contain genetic mutations. Now, that would be a problem because you can't make the kind of treatments that you want to make with genetic mutations. Another problem, they say, is that these 64 lines were made using mouse cells. These stem cells needed to eat something, so they gave them mouse cells to eat. That also would be a problem when people want to turn these stem cells into actual medical treatments for human beings. So the National Academy of Sciences says we need more stem cell lines than just the 64 that President Bush approved for federal funding, and those also need to have federal funding.
Elizabeth, why did Bush have a limited number anyway? These scientists told him even beforehand, right, that they would need more.
Oh, absolutely. They told him that over and over, that they really needed as many as they could get. So what happened was that President Bush was under enormous pressure from both sides. Scientists said, give us as many stem cell lines as we could create, which could be in the thousands. However, folks who were opposed to the destruction of embryos said scientists shouldn't be given any stem cell lines at all, because for every stem cell line, an embryo had to be destroyed. The way that you make a stem cell line is you take an embryo that's sitting in a fertility clinic, you destroy it, and you get the stem cells that are inside it. So folks who were against the destruction of embryos said we shouldn't have any. So this was the way that President Bush compromised.
All right, we'll have much more coverage on this report throughout the day. Elizabeth Cohen, thank you so much. In other news, a lawyer for Anne Marie Smith is refiling his complaint that Gary Condit obstructed justice. A grand jury in California rejected the first complaint, saying it did not have proper jurisdiction. The complaint says Condit asked Smith to sign a false affidavit. Well, her lawyer says he'll refile in a different jurisdiction. High-speed crash test results are due out this morning for one of the most popular vehicle categories, SUVs. The Insurance Institute is set to announce its findings at 10 Eastern, and CNN does plan live coverage. CNN's Kathleen Koch will be at the test site in Virginia with what's left of those crashed SUVs. All right, Vince, take it back over to you.
All right, thank you, Kira. And of course, we're talking about the Michael Jordan comeback, a huge story, in particular in our nation's capital, where he will play for the Washington Wizards. Let's see how it's playing out there. Reporter Nancy Weiner of CNN affiliate WJLA is there at a diner, no less, in the nation's capital. And Nancy, what's the feedback you're getting there?
Well, Vince, a lot of Washingtonians are telling us they feel like they have won the lottery. As you may know, the Wizards didn't have quite a stellar year last year, and so when Jordan first announced that he would become a part owner, people were thrilled. Now that it turns out that he will almost certainly become a player, they are ecstatic. We have been here at Bob and Edith's in Arlington all morning long, talking to people who say they're so happy, they are more than welcoming him to this team. And come down here because I want to introduce you to actually two people who say he shouldn't come back for sentimental reasons. First, we've got Mark Reed from Temple Hills. Mark, why shouldn't he come back if he wants to?
Basketball season's a long season. Games are 48 minutes, and he's going to have to chase guys like Kobe Bryant around. Michael needs to stay out.
Now, he says even though he's 38 years old, he's feeling like he's in good enough shape to come down, and I'm sure a lot of Wizards fans would agree with him, but you stick firm.
Yeah, he 38 years old, tired legs, young legs he's going to chase. Nah.
No?
Nah.
I want to introduce you to Pat Petro. He's from Fredericksburg, Virginia. Pat, what do you think?
I think he should go out and stay out. He's on top, and you know, he's suffering injuries now, and he's not going to get any better. He's just going to be suffering a little bit more.
Ironically, a number of people who like Michael Jordan so much, they want him to leave on an up note. However, I should tell you, Vince, in fairness to his airness, that a number of people who we've spoken to this morning say they're thrilled that he's coming back. They think he can make a great comeback, especially since he made such a phenomenal comeback the first time.
All right, thank you very much, Nancy Weiner. Interesting reaction out of Washington, D.C. there.
Yep.
You know, stay away. This for a team that won only 19 games last year. I think Michael can be a great addition for the team and certainly for the league. Don't challenge him. One thing we've learned over the years, you challenge Michael Jordan, you're challenging the wrong person. I think he'll answer.
All right. Well, he certainly is speaking loud and clear this morning. In the meantime, the story of the day, of course, Michael Jordan's return to the NBA, and we want to know what you think about it.
That's our question of the day, and now it's your turn, so drop us a line at daybreak@cnn.com. Be sure to include your name and where you're writing from, and we'll read those a little bit later in the hour.
That's right. We're going to get your emails in the 8 o'clock Eastern hour, so stay tuned. Stay right there. Or you can head over to our website and make your voice heard right there, right now. Go to CNN.com and cast your vote. That's today's quick vote question. What's it saying right now?
Look at that. 66% agree with the diner eaters.
Yeah,
Stay away.
No, he's taking a big risk. You know, I want to remember Michael in his absolute prime.
I know you said that earlier today, and I think part of the sentimentality is seeing him shoot against the Utah Jazz. Final shot, boom, for the championship, and we want to remember our legends that way. But, you know, Michael says it's not necessarily about championships, for love of the game.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying.
All right. Well, you know, he's a baby boomer who doesn't want to admit it's over. You've got a lot left to give. We are all over this story. Our opinions aside, in the next 15 minutes, we're going to be talking to the Sports Illustrated reporter who first reported months ago that MJ was coming back.
And President Bush would like the economy to bounce back. Can he make choices that won't cut into his political base?
And cuts are all the rage on the runway. Jeannie Most reports on the fashionistas. You are watching CNN Live at Daybreak.
Strike a pose.
CNN Live at Daybreak is brought to you by Conoco. At Conoco, we think big and move fast.
In the global energy business, no one covers more ground than the fast cats. Conoco. Think big, move fast.
Would you like to lower your monthly mortgage payments or use the equity in your home to consolidate your credit card or other debts? Just log on to ditech.com or call 1-800-71-FIXED. Today's low fixed rate with 0 points is only 6.875%. Lower interest rates, lower monthly payments. It's smart money from ditech.com. For fast, friendly service, apply online or call 1-800-71-FIXED right now.
In other news, jury selection begins today in a hearing to decide if a Houston woman, Andrea Yates, is mentally competent to stand trial for killing her 5 children. Forensic psychiatrist Donald Morgan has testified in similar cases, including the Susan Smith case, and he joins us this morning. Good morning, Dr. Morgan.
Good morning.
I know that you don't have any clinical experience with Andrea Yates, but we want to draw on your past experience with juries as this jury is being selected today. In the case of Andrea Yates, she has already been evaluated by several doctors, so why is it still a question whether she's competent to go to trial?
Competency to go to trial is a legal issue, and she must have a rational and factual understanding of the